Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Road to Finals Episode 2, an unexpected contender. Benson joined by Max for this episode, and we're currently going over all of Team Elevate. We passed over X Games, we then went over UMG, then there was more drama at the end of the event. A little bit more roster movement going on for Elevate.
Yeah, so like we said, if you guys missed it, flawless pool play performance, 4-0, 12-0 in map count.
Unbelievable.
Then fail to win in bracket play, they lose 1-3 to Envy.
Awful.
And then losing a Game 5 to TCM.
Just very bad.
So at this point, like you said, we're like, okay, Slack is like, doesn't make any sense. We don't know what happened.
Angry, yep.
And they make a crucial trade to bring back one of the youngsters that helped bring home this organization a bronze medal. They trade Apathy to Rise Nation for TJ Halley, who was also at X Games, UMG Dallas rather, and they had that Rise team had a pretty poor event.
Very poor.
So they bring back one of their best players who can now play a dedicated role next to Saints, and it's like, okay, this might be the Elevate team that we see succeed.
Yeah, as soon as you get Slack, Classic, Saints, and TJ as that squad, you have extremely kind of high hopes. You had TJ playing that objective role again, which was something that Elevate really did miss. Yes, fantastic pool play performance. They didn't really need it there. But going up against a couple of stronger teams in the bracket play, that was when I felt they really needed those roles a little more defined. So TJ comes back, breath of fresh air. Next event that we see this new roster play was at UMG DC Max. Now, break down exactly what happened at UMG.
So UMG, they go 4-0 in pool play again.
Beautiful.
So, I mean, at this point, we're like, okay, this might be the best pool play team we've ever seen. But they go 12-2 in map record.
They dropped 2 maps this time, though.
2 maps. So
2 maps.
They are not invincible.
UMG pool play, though, they are very good.
So then they actually win in bracket play.
Hey! Let's get it.
But then they run into the Wolfpack. This is the new Denial squad of Temp, Hook, Slasher, and Replays. And they lose to them 2-3 in winners semis, and then 2-3 in losers finals as well. This is the final round from that loser final matchup, going to face OG in the grand finals. Absolutely crushing.
Pretty brutal. Horrible way to lose. But we kind of saw an improved performance from them, making it all the way, of course, to that losers final. They get a fantastic placement. But something is really, really important to note throughout this entire tournament, Max. They didn't play Optic Gaming or FaZe.
Right. I mean, since really X Games, they hadn't really played them at all because the Gfinity Summer event that was in between DC and Dallas, what's his face? Saints couldn't attend, so they had to fill.
What's his face?
What's his face? And they had to refill. They had to refill replays filled in.
Yes.
Words are coming mixed together.
Words are English is hard, Max.
Orientated.
That's a real word, man.
But
was giving me a lot of crap for it, but it's a real word.
Right. But anyway, I mean, like they finished third. They lose to Denial in the Game 5 twice. So at that point, it's like, okay, they could have gone really either way. That S&D came down to a 6-4. But you have Saints now, like we said before, that X factor, that player who's always going to dominate. You can't you need to shut him down in order to win. And you have TJ again, your dominant uplink player who just makes crazy plays.
Yep. Great
OBJ-minded player. I mean, we'll take a look at their overall performance from DC.
Okay.
And as you can see, it's a very strong event, especially in uplink.
Yeah. Starting with the event performance as a whole, overall KD a 1.05. Map record, they go 23-12. It's almost double positive there. Impressive. And the team KD at a 1.02. You look at the hardpoint record, it's a 1.05 in terms of the KD. Average score of 207.3. Average opponent score 186. So pretty close games all around.
Right.
Nothing too impressive. Search and Destroy, their record is 6-5. So really not the most dominant S&D team that you kind of want to see there. Average score is a 4.73. Average opponent score of 4.27. So fractional. Very, very fractional.
Right.
Uplink, though, this is what you were talking about, Max. 7-2 record. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you expect this team to be, that's going to be their strong suit. Hardpoint, you figure, okay, like they can win, they have the power, but can they, slay against Denial? Can they slay against FaZe? Can they slay against OG? And then Search and Destroy, again, it's like back and forth, really fractional. Like you said, they're only winning by 0.5 a round. You can't really win by 0.5 a round in general.
It's just not going to happen.
But overall, not a bad event for this team with their first land with the new roster. I mean, losing to Denial in 2 Game 5s, like
an informed Denial as well. Let's not forget how dominant they were.
Arguably their best event with that roster.
Yeah, they completely blitzed through. So, good performance from this Elevate squad again. But the questions still remain. If you go all the way back to X Games, it was, can they beat Optic Gaming and FaZe? The answer was a clear-cut no. Then you didn't really see it at Dallas. It was just kind of a great pool play performance, and they kind of got let down. More roster changes, Then we see another phenomenal finish from them, but they still didn't play up to Gaming FaZe. So that question still kind of lingering in the back of everyone's minds. Then we head over to Season 3 Finals. Now, we'll show you how Season 3 regular season finished, at least. This was, of course, the official seeding. Elevate with a second place finish, go 9-2. It was a great regular season for them, and it set up a pretty awesome Season 3 Finals for them. We have another highlight package of all of their top plays from Season 3 playoffs.
And gentlemen, Championship Sunday begins now. The title of the MLG Pro League Season 3 champions.
TK always in full control right off the bat. Of course, you see Elevate, because of those stuns, able to break through the nades, excuse me. But TK, with those good stuns, are going to be fighting right back. But it looks like you see those blue arrows flooding in on that bottom right-hand corner. That's going to be Slack. That is going to push TK all the way out, and TK is going to have to be working back from the deficit as Elevate able to tie it up and take the lead. Elevate going to be in full control. See Theory, though, trying to break in. He's able to pick up 2. TJ Halley is going to be there, though, able to get that kill on Nameless. But nonetheless, Elevate in full control.
A swift 4 dead on TK. They're now down by 80 seconds. Mind you, they have yet to win a map so far this tournament, losing 0-4 against Rise yesterday. Oh, gosh. If TK, of all teams, doesn't win a single map, that is just horrible to see. Obviously, 4 veteran players on this squad. They have a lot of potential, but I feel like a lot of it remains untapped when facing some of these younger players. Right now, TJ, 30-27. Saints putting up the numbers that you always expect from him. Every single player positive. Right now, TK being outslayed by over 20 kills. This is a map where I've seen Slack do some of the best work in regards to movement and utilizing the different aspects of these hills that you don't see on other maps. In regards to this one, obviously that bottom tunnels area, he's very strong at knowing when to drop down, letting the opposing team take control, and then double jumping up and catching them off guard. At the start of this game, nothing too crazy from him. Definitely a player to keep watch of.
Without a doubt, no one going to be in position to get that interception. At least Neslo was able to shut him down, but nonetheless, Elevate is just slowly chipping away at his lead.
Again, the flank was coming in momentarily for Theory. Then he tries to hit middle ice. One player inside circle with him. He wins that gun battle.
Elevate again, taking the aggression to it. They already have control of the beast. High Glacier, though, able to spot a few plays, but he's got a sniper and able to rip TJ's head off right there, and Slack's going to kill himself. FaZe just got handed this round by Slack, and of course, Glacier's been on fire the entire time, but the 2v4 has to come in. This is a horrible, horrible situation for Elevate to be in.
Glacier remembered from what was round number 1 when TJ rushed right across the map, got into that top office building and shot him in the back. Once he saw that 4 players were pushing towards B, he dropped down, pre-aimed that jump in area and picked him off. Slack getting blown up by one of those, well, exploding canisters. Saints try to make this a even round, and that's going to happen in FaZe's favor. Play getting hyped yet again. TJ's pushed all the way up through this middle pool area. Shots coming down towards the pool wall. TJ strikes first blood again. That's Zuma falling for FaZe.
That's a big, big win. Look at this for Team Elevate. Zuma was at 11-11. Clay, meanwhile, though, he's been pretty aggressive of himself, and they actually, FaZe have Elevate pinned in, but another win comes in from Saints. That's on attach. Now a 2 versus 4. Enable at 1-9. If there was ever a moment he needs to step up, it's going to be right now, but Clay's on the flank's going to spot basically 3 plays, doesn't pick up anyone, and the automatic fail comes in, Enable in a 1v4, picks up 1, turns around, can't find
Elevate's
it.
still alive.
Elevate clutch up in round 11. So Elevate, Season 3, walk home with 4th place finish. So you can kind of see, you know, the year has had some pretty high placements, but still, the question, can they beat OG versus FaZe? They played FaZe at Season 3, they lost against FaZe at Season 3 as well.
I mean, like you saw, they lose in round 11 there to get eliminated.
Brutal.
And loses round 4. But also, what's even more shocking is they lose to Epsilon in winner's bracket. They get that number 2 seed, they get that huge bye in the first round, so you're already guaranteed to win a match, technically, and then you have to face off against Epsilon, and this Epsilon team comes out of nowhere, like we talked about yesterday, and just absolutely decimated everybody. I mean, pushing OG and FaZe to the limit, looking like the clear contender against these top 2 teams.
Right.
But Elevate also, like, they take a map off FaZe, completely different FaZe roster than the last time they played.
Yep.
They don't face OG, but it's still like, okay, this team it's close. Like, was Epsilon really a fluke at that event? Like, could they go again?
Did it get closer in your mind? It must have done, right? Elevate's ability to try and beat OG in FaZe.
It got closer, which is weird because FaZe got better with their roster as well.
Right.
Like,
very strange to think about.
I mean, Elevate got better too. They changed their roles around. I mean, they add Saints for temp, and then they make classic main Bao. But yeah, it's weird because they get closer and they do better against them. But now you have like one of the best rosters in AW.
Yeah.
So
they're still chasing.
Right, they're still chasing. Yeah, that's the whole thing to take away.
And then, of course, after Season 3, what happens in Call of Duty community after events? Rostermania ensues. It wasn't a big one, but there was still some team changes which definitely went down. Elevate, it was actually Slack who announced that Classic was planning on departing to move over to Team Denial.
Pretty much everybody. Everyone was like, well, I heard Classic's leaving. So.
It was very interesting. And then that, of course, made a little room for one, and they managed to pick up none other than Octane. He's been one of the best battles in Advanced Warfare, probably the best breakout player of the year. And I think he really kind of completes a dominating team. I think they may have finally now found that perfect synergy. Because if you think about it, when they had TJ and Temp, played very well. They now have a Temp-like battle back with them. Only Saints is still with the squad. So if you think about the past couple of rosters that Elevate have had, it's as if they kind of been testing out so many different things. Like one didn't work.
Right.
They didn't really have that kind of good support player. Then they kind of tested out a little bit too far. They had too many support players. Then they kind of went too Slay heavy. They got a little bit confused. Now I think potentially they have that perfect synergy with the pickup of Octane. This guy has been so good all year long. Cannot praise him enough. Been a little unfortunate with his placings. 4 team members, that's for sure. They've been a little bit unfortunate with their brackets this year, running into FaZe and Optic Gaming several times. But this now sets up an interesting debate. Classic versus Octane. Is this trade really as good as we think it is, Max? We'll take a look at a comparison from Season 3 between the two plays. This is just pure head-to-head. Overall KD, no surprise at all. Octane blitzes past him with that. That's expected. 1.13 to a 0.98 Slayer rating. Again, Octane miles ahead. 31.75 to that 27 Slayer rating of Classic. Hardpoint KD, again, in favor of Octane, 1.12 to a 1. Uplinks per game. This is where it impresses me. Octane actually has a 3.5 in uplink.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
That's nuts. So he's able to, fight against, Clay and Formal, and then he's still able to score almost 4 uplinks a game.
Insane.
I mean, and against Elevate too, like going head-to-head against Classic, just absolutely dominates. And then a 1.22 S&D KD compared to Classic's 0.95. So, like, when we looked at Saints and Apathy versus TJ and Temp, different roles, numbers are much higher, but were they really playing the right roles? This is directly head-to-head,
just when these two players played against each other,
Octane,
it was just like he got blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Literally. So when it comes down to a direct comparison between the two players when they're playing against each other, Octane pooped on Classic.
Yeah,
to put it completely simply.
So it makes sense. Like,
it does.
Pick them up. Yeah.
Right. It kind of makes sense. And then you see more of those temp-like numbers that you saw towards X Games, if you will. So you have that Slayer kind of back, a Slayer who we kind of know can go up against the top teams. And this is the interesting question going into, finals. Is Octane the answer now for Elevate to beat FaZe and Optic, something they've struggled with all year long? So let's take a look at Octane on MV and Classic on Elevate versus Team FaZe. So these numbers are directly against when they played FaZe at Season 3. How shocking is that when you look at Octane's overall KD? Look at how badly FaZe shut him down.
I mean, a 0.69? Like, you're going up against Clayster, points in uplink.
Oh,
yeah. Like,
okay.
like, Elevate,
I mean, in all of them, it's just terribly negative numbers.
Right, and like that's Uplink's Elevate's best game mode, and you're like, okay, we need a main battle for Uplink. Let's pick up Octane so we can go against FaZe, but he went less than a 0.7 again in that game mode. So I mean, Classic versus Clay didn't do too bad.
Held his own, man. Held his own. Like Classic came out and played very well. 1.08 overall, 1.1 in hardpoint, 1.19 in uplink, and yeah, a little bit negative there in the S&D at 0.71, but the guy did pretty much everything he could in the respawn modes, especially against Clay. Like, that is extremely impressive numbers to his credit. Interesting, though. Very interesting, because we kind of just show you how, head-to-head Octane clearly was the better player. Then you put him against FaZe.
And he struggles.
And they struggled.
Yeah.
Massively. Now, when you get to Octane on MV and Classic on Elevate versus Optic Gaming, the story takes another massive twist.
Complete flip-flop.
Which, quite frankly, doesn't really make any sense. It's very confusing. Classic goes completely negative against Optic Gaming, and Octane kind of steps things up a little bit. Overall KD, a 1.08 for him. Hardpoint goes up to a 1.14. This time he's playing against Formal. His uplink KD, yes, still negative at a 0.83, but his S&D KD goes up to a 1.5. That is massive for him. Meanwhile, on the other side, Classic negative across the board, goes even, though, in that Search and Destroy. It's just weird.
It's absolutely bonkers.
Because you have Clay and Formal, right? They're the two battles that we're kind of comparing these guys to. And, I mean, they don't play that different. Yes, there is difference in their playstyle, but to essentially just flip-flop the role like that, that blows my mind. I mean, it's weird.
Oh, so do we pick up Octane so we can beat OG, or do we pick up Classic so we can beat FaZe, like, or perform
Very
better
weird.
against them?
Because that's it. Like, Classic was better than Octane versus FaZe. Octane is better than Classic versus OG. Octane is better than Classic head-to-head.
Right.
But still...
It's 2 out of 3, but still, like, it's not 3 out of 3. Like,
right.
Like,
he isn't all around the better solution for the squad when you look
Right.
at the numbers that we've kind of just glanced at. And it really does make an interesting kind of debate, because you expect Octane to be just so much better in terms of when you think of just a BAL player. But I don't want to kind of throw him under the bus, because, you know, I love Octane, but was he potentially the reason MV struggled against Optic Gaming and FaZe? Because they were the two teams which continuously just kept knocking them out of every event.
Right.
Then you look at the numbers that, you know, their main BAL is putting up, especially the numbers versus FaZe at least. Very subpar.
I mean, that Envy squad, I feel like, on paper, really good. I mean, Looney's had a really good AW. JCap, 2015 World Champion, and Aqua and Octane, the two biggest free agents coming out of Season 3 relegation in terms of aggressive sub and, you know, main BAL respectively. But I feel like when you're going to name top BALs in the game, you're going to go, you know, formal Clay informal, whatever side you're on.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go, okay, Octane. Like,
Yeah.
Octane's really talented.
Yeah.
You're not going to go Classic just because of, like, Classic has played multiple roles since he really came in like Ghosts.
Yep.
So I feel like he was like put in like, okay, like, hey, I can play main BAL. I'll play main BAL for this team, and I'll do all right. You know, against FaZe, I'll do pretty well. Against OG, I'm gonna struggle. Like,
Yeah.
which is
I think one of the key things for Elevate here is they have that structure back. They have what they need.
Right.
They have that, you know, main BAL player, their objective player in TJ, Saints being that great kind of support, and Slack there as well, just kind of doing a little bit of everything that he needs to do to get the job done. I think that this squad is going to be even closer than Elevate have been all year now, potentially being Optic Gaming and FaZe.
Do you think this is kind of like that upgrade that FaZe did, dropping Slasher for Clay? Like, I mean, Slasher, different BAL player than Classic, like Slasher, right? But I mean, like,
Essentially, yeah.
That's
You have two great BAL players,
right?
but one is just, he brings a little bit more to the table.
Right, like you,
Like different aspects.
looking at that roster change, you're like, okay, Attach and Hook, it's like Attach is pretty clutch, like it's give or take, like
Right.
whatever you feel fits your team better. Clay over Slasher was the clear upgrade. Like Clay, only guy who can, you know, really put down formal in games, pick him up. Now it's like, okay, our main BAL is struggling. Like once you upgrade your main BAL, can they then go ahead and compete against OG and FaZe?
I honestly think potentially they can, but you know, that's mine and Max's thought. We're actually going to bring Octane onto the show, give him a brief little interview, find out exactly what was going through his mind at the end of Season 3, and try and kind of go deeper into some of those numbers and get an explanation from him as to what may have been going on directly in the game. For now, though, quick commercial break. Be right back.